show you how to create your own loom so you can warp it, which means put the string on, and then you can weave it, which means put the horizontal lines on it to create something like this. What we're going to use today is just materials from your home. Some things you might have to go out and buy eventually, but most everything here you can just find from your home. So if you can't find yarn and things like that, you can cut up maybe an old t-shirt and kind of pull it tight, cut really thin strips of it, so you don't necessarily have to use yarn. I am going to be using yarn today, but again, kind of work with what you can find around your house. Also, find some cardboard. If you use thick cardboard, you can make your loom larger, but if you have thin cardboard, you can make your loom smaller. If you look, do you see how there's the lines that go vertical? When you're making a large loom, you want to make sure that you keep these lines vertical. Otherwise, when you're doing your warp, this cardboard can bend all those lines. So keeping it this way will keep your loom from bending itself. But a ruler is really the best and the easiest. You will need scissors. You'll need a pencil or a Sharpie or some type of permanent mark making. And you'll need your cardboard. So I'm going to move my camera down here, and I've got my ruler ready. If you're making a large loom, you can use the inches. So you can line it up like that, and this would have 8 notches here. I'd slide it down, and I'd do 8 notches like that. But because I'm going to create a small loom like this, I prefer to use the centimeters. However, you can use the inches here. You would just have 3 notches instead of having this many notches. So your loom, you can pre-color it and do a design on the cardboard side, and then flip it over to do your lines. So this kind of stuff won't show. So flip your cardboard on the back side if you want to do a drawing on your loom. If you don't, it will look something like this, and you don't really want those Sharpie lines to show. So Sharpie on the back. Alright, using centimeters, line it up. Can you see that? Okay, line it up at 0. Oops, I'm doing it on the wrong side. This is 7 centimeters across. I'm going to draw a straight line. That's so I'll know how far to cut, and then I'm going to draw a line at every centimeter. So that's, I can get 6 of those lines. I'm going to slide it down. I'm going to draw a line, and then I'm going to make my notches, just like I did on this one. So, and it doesn't have to be perfect, just a good guideline for yourself. Okay, so now I've got my line, so I know don't cut past that line, and I have these lines so I'll know where to cut. So then you're just going to do like this. Okay, so now I have my loom, it's decorated, it's ready to be warped. You'll need some tape. So you want to put some tape on your loom, and you just want to wrap it like this. And you want to keep it tight, but don't bend it so much that you bend your loom. You just pull it pretty taut, and you're just wrapping it at the notches. And this is why it's important that you use the measurement tool, so you can keep your line segments pretty equal. Alright, then flip it over on the back. You're going to have some extra, so you'll just want to tape it on there and then cut it. Just like that. No matter what kind of yarn you use for your weaving, I'm using a thicker yarn, so it won't take me that long. Feel free to use any material that you have around, even if it's, like I said, paper or old shirt or old fabric you can rip and do strips, anything that you can create type of strips with. anything at all like that. I'm actually going to tape it on the back. So make sure you have some tape close. And if you don't have tape, another thing would work, would be a like a paper clip or something like that. Alright, so I have the end of my yarn here, and I have it like this, and I always like to start from right to left, and this is going to be upside down for you, but I'm probably going to be able to flip it, so let me just do it like this. Alright, so you want to go, it doesn't matter, but you're going to go over, under, over, under, over, under. Or you could go under, over, under, over, under, over. So under, and then over, and then under, and then over, under, over. And you want to pull all the way. Now, how much yarn to use? That might be a question. Use about an arm's width. So if you take your yarn and put this hand at your shoulder, and then stretch this hand all the way out, that's a good amount of yarn to use. You can always get more, and I'll show you how to tie on more yarn in a second. So I've put that over, so it's under, over, under, over, under, over. So now I want to start, since it ended with it being over, I need to start this side going under. So you want to do the opposite. That's what it looks like right now. Now I'm going to push this all the way up, but see how there's room left? You want to pull it to where you want to pull it gently enough though that you don't do like this. You don't want your warp strings to bend. You want them to stay straight. So you just want to pull it taut enough, but to not bend this and make it move. And then you want to push this up right like that. Alright, so I'm going to get my other, I will fast forward this part after a while so you can kind of see. So I had it over at the end, so now I'm going to go under, over. Oh, and I forgot to tell you this. If you notice my yarn, the tip that I'm weaving with, it has a piece of tape on it. And you don't have to use a needle or a tapestry needle or anything to weave. You can just take a piece of tape. And the reason why I use tape is because this stuff frays. But if you use this kind of yarn, you really don't need it because it doesn't really fray as bad. So weaving with this is pretty good. You can also take a little piece of glue and put on the tip of your yarn and let it dry, and it will be hard, and then you can use that to weave. But that one, you have to kind of think ahead of time to let that yarn dry. So now the goal of the weaving is you want your loom, or you want your weaving to not have any of the loom showing, any of those warp lines. So you want to press this up. Oops. You want to press it up really good to where those, you can't see it. Alright, I'm going to do one more. Under, over, under, over, under, over. And I'm going to pause my video and do the rest of this, and then I'll show you what to do when we're done. Okay, I am stopping right here to show y'all how I'm weaving, and you see how the sides are slowly getting smaller. That means I'm pulling it too tight. So if that happens, just make sure that you're aware of it and that you stop pulling it so tightly as you're working the rest of it. Also, make sure you keep pushing it up so your weave is tight. I have a little bit left, and then I'm going to go ahead and tie this on, and I'll show y'all how to do that in just a second. So you've run out of room on your string. You can add more yarn. You can add the same color. You can change your color. It doesn't matter. I decided to get a new color, and you'll just take your two pieces, tie them in a knot like that, like you're tying your shoe, and then you tie it again. And you want to pull really tight. Now there's going to be a little extra here. You can double knot it again if you're not quite sure. but I usually don't, just because the weave kind of keeps it locked in place. So you can cut your extras off, and if you're using this kind of yarn, it ties a lot tighter. This is kind of loose, so you don't want to pull it too hard. And then you can continue tying. You want to put some tape or glue or something on the end of this so you can continue weaving, and it just helps make that pointy needle shape. So I can continue, push it up, make sure you're not letting it break in too much. It's on top. I'll go under, over. You just continue the weave as if you never left off. You'll have to worry about pulling the knot through. If it's too big, it might stop you, so you'll probably have to help it go through until it lands where it's supposed to go. And it can look pretty cool. If your knot is on the top, you can make it like part of your design. So it doesn't have to be a bad thing if the knot ends up on the top like mine just did. And it can just be a cute part of your design. So I'll do one more. So that was under. Just like that. Pull it. If you feel like you have no room left, push it up, because you will have lots of room. You want to make your weaving really nice and tight. Pull it loosely, push up. Now this obviously is taking me a lot less time than if I had a large weaving, but my students have made all sorts of sizes of weavings, and they've gotten really creative with it. So let this be like your first weaving, and then you can grow from there. Okay, upon completion, your loom will look just like this, and your weaving should be tight, and it should be straight on the sides as good as you can get it. Make sure it doesn't bow like that. If it does, that's okay, but generally you want to keep it pretty straight. Now I'm keeping this one on the actual loom, so I'm just going to tuck the end pieces in like this, and my little design's kind of showing, and there's a little room where I can hole punch. You don't have to do this. You can hang it on the wall. You can glue it on some white paper and frame it. Really, it's endless on how you want to finish it out, but I'm going to do some holes, and then I'm going to, you can add string or pipe cleaner. I just grabbed some pipe cleaner, whatever you want. Twist a little, and this is just extra. You absolutely don't have to do this part. Punch a hole and then twist. You could add some beads. You can twist it on again. Just depends however long you want that to be. I'm just going to make it pretty short. So, alright, and there we have our little weaving, a little wall hanging. You can do whatever you want. You can even make your cardboard bigger and have some drawing left into it and have weaving for just a spot, but I just did it for the whole one. So